Hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm your host, Dr. Haider Shah. On behalf of Colvas, I would like to welcome all of you to this webinar. Thank you very much for joining us. Today we have another very interesting session. I'm really honored to welcome and introduce our distinguished guest speaker who is going to talk about innovating teaching for student-centered learning in higher education. As classrooms continue to evolve, so must our approaches to teaching. Today's session will explore practical strategies, innovative tools, and evidence-based methods that place students at the heart of learning process. I'm delighted to have you all here as we reflect on how we as educators can create more engaging, inclusive, and impactful learning experiences. Indeed, a very interesting topic, and I'm sure as we have an expert with us today in this session. Stay tuned because an amazing stuff are coming ahead in this session. So before we start, I would like to thank Colvas for arranging such enlightenment sessions for their support and providing us such a wonderful platform. The aim of Colvas is to give you the opportunity to connect and interact with world-renowned speakers, academic leaders, teachers, authors, researchers, experts, professionals, and businessmen to learn from their experiences, recommendations, and suggestions, which will create an impact and will enable you to learn and develop yourself in order to grow and transform individually, as well as to contribute to the world in a positive way. As our slogan is come, learn, and share knowledge. So today we have amazing person as guest, a person having wonderful experience and internationally known personality. We always see him while contributing to the world and team through different ways, and he is great human being and always ready to support and share his knowledge. So let me introduce him formally. He did his PhD in organizational behavior and HRM from India, postgraduate diploma in global business administration from Singapore HR Institute in 2009, MBA in marketing and HR from India in 2003, and a bachelor degree in business management from Bangalore University, India. He is the result-driven academic leader and the HRM and organizational behavior expert with more than 20 years of experience in higher education, specializing in talent management, international HRM, transformative pedagogy, proven track record in curriculum design, student-centered learning, and research-driven teaching. Award-winning educator recognized for innovation in metacognitive teaching strategies and 21st century skill development. Along with that, he has numerous achievements. Some of them are he's the principal investigator of TRC funded project on metacognition and anticipatory thinking skills, founder and CEO of whymetaconnect.com, principal trainer of Award OMR 475 grant, and the head of the HR specialization, leading the curriculum assessment accreditation across and 8 campuses of UTAS Oman from 2024 to present. He has more than 25 publications in index journals, including IEEE Explore, with the multiple Best Paper awards. He is the expert speaker who talks about the trends in HRM and all those things. Along with that, he also conducts the workshops related to innovative teaching practices for SCL, for UTS. Along with that, he remains the international guest speaker for multiple platforms. One of them is the Global Talent Management at Dubai. He remains the resource speaker and all those. Last but not the least, he's a wonderful speaker, author, teacher, researcher, professional, and above everything, a great human being. So please help me in welcoming our guest, Dr. Ranjit Krishan. Welcome to the Canvas platform, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Good evening to all. So,
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, a gentle reminder to the audience that Dr. Ranjit will be presenting and he would leave time for question and answer session at the end of the session. If you have any question, please you can write in comment section or you can email us at info@colvas.com. So over to you, sir.
good evening to all. I am going to talk about innovative teaching for student-centered learning in higher education. The content will be how to stay relevant in the present context, particularly in the era of AI, the education dogma that we face, the SEL method and the tools or the framework to implement SEL, the science behind this method, and how to empower student and teacher community. I would like to start this presentation with famous quote by Carl Rogers. The only person who is educated is the one who has learned how to learn and change. This is what exactly what I am going to present. That is a simple topic but powerful. That is how to learn and change. Business is changing, competition is changing, scientific world is changing, and management world is changing. The necessity for a novel approach to teaching pedagogy has grown. The way we teach information and skills to future professionals needs to be re-evaluated, particularly in the context of the rise of disruptive technologies, AI, shifting customer behavior, and more emphasis on sustainability and ethics. But I have one question. Are we really changing as university? Are educators and students changing their mental mindset, critical thinking, whether we are doing research and whether we really work for the benefit of student and researchers? Are universities really changing? That is the question uh, in front of me. Based on this, I developed the framework. I am going to present about that. If you ask me how to stay relevant, particularly in the context of AI, automation spreads, and we should understand that repetitive work and memorization may become less important, but essential human centric abilities will be necessary to survive in the AI era. What are those skills, human centric skills? The ability to think critically, solve problems, be flexible, never stop learning, emotional intelligence, creativity, and moral judgment are essential qualities that set people apart from AI and promote cooperation. And the point here is that in classroom, are we really developing these things? And what is the mechanisms to track the progress? How we give feedback for developing these essential 21st century skills? What framework we use? That is the question. So how to implement it? So we will analyze first what is happening now. For too long, there has been a canyon between the classroom and the career, a gap where potential falls and shatters. We teach students to solve neatly packed, tame problems, while the world unleashes upon them chaos, simple, complex, unstructured, and wicked problems. The real problem is not lack of information, but lack of cognitive architecture. And the solution is not a better textbook, but developing that cognitive architecture. The goal should not pass exam, but to forge mental metal. But how? Before explaining that, I would like to share some statistics. You can see here there is a clear educational mismatch. Two in three young adult workers in developing economies hold qualifications that do not match well. Why? Because they lack skills. So problem that I identified based on my research is that education today is failing to build independent learners. One size fits all learning models dominate everywhere. Students lack metacognitive and self-regulation skills. Exam-centric systems ignore skills development. And one more point, learners are overwhelmed by content but underprepared for real-world challenges. So the crux of the matter is that many students memorize without understanding, lack of tools and systems to track habits, reflect, and stay motivated. Each learner has a different pace, goal, and style. In a fast changing world, students need thinking skills, not just content knowledge. So before developing all 21st century skill, we should develop that help us to think in the right way and how to take all learners through that process of learning. So we should change our operating system. That is remembering to forgetting to mastering. Over 60% of students forget what they study within a week based on learning curve. And traditional teaching method often ignore how students think or process information. The answer, personalized and reflective learners perform up to 30% better academically, and mentored goal-based learning improves motivation and confidence. All these ideas and frameworks are very effective, but how to implement in the classroom, that is important. The solution is already given by Education for Framework by World Economic Forum. That is, we should develop global citizenship skills, innovation, creativity skills, technology skills, interpersonal skills, personalized and self-paced learning, accessible and inclusive learning, problem based and collaborative learning, lifelong and student driven learning. So, I would like to explain more on this student driven learning and how to develop all other skills and other skills mentioned in this education for framework through this student driven learning. So, first we should understand what is student driven means shifting the focus from teacher led lessons to student driven learning. Learners take responsibility, set goals, and reflect on their progress, while mentors act as guides instead of instructors. So, there are five principles of student centered learning. We should be able to achieve all these five principles. That is, personalized and interactive learning. Students should learn the way they want, and there should be interaction. So students learn in a way that fits their style using interactive tools and activities. Second most important principle is active learning and engagement. Learners take part in lesson by doing, exploring, and asking questions. Collaborative and peer-led learning. Students learn together through group work, discussion, and shared tasks. Critical thinking and problem solving is another principle. That is, learners should be encouraged to think deeply, question ideas, and solve real-world problems. The most important one and the cornerstone of this student-centered learning is metacognition and self-regulated learning. Students should reflect on their learning, track their progress, and take control of their study habits. And this part many people lack, and many universities or system do not develop a framework or do not focus on developing these skills because metacognition is the foundation of learning. So, how to implement in the classroom? Actually, it is a difficult concept, but developing the right framework and tools, we can implement it. And how to do it, I will explain. So, if we compare student-centered model and teacher-centered model, there are big differences. For example, if you take the case of content processing, it is in teacher-centered model, it is passive reception, memorization, uniform for all. But in student-centered model, there will be active construction of knowledge, critical thinking, personalized, and it will be metacognitive. I will explain more on this metacognition in the coming slides. And activity, if you take the second most important part of learning, that is activity, in traditional teacher centered model, the majority of the part will be focused on listening, note taking, individual worksheets. But in student centered model, it should be collaborative, experiential, problem based with choice and authenticity. The student role in teacher-centered model is passive vessel, and in student-centered model, it will be active participant, researcher, and co-creator. In teacher-centered model, the role of teacher is expert and information giver, but in student-centered model, it is facilitator, designer, and coach. So here, one point is very important, that is problem-based learning. That is ability to solve problems. What are those problems? The very purpose of all education is to solve problems, and we teach students business means solving problems and creating value. But how to solve problem? What are those problems? Are we really giving training to solve problems? Problems can be classified like simple problems, complex problems, unstructured problems, and wicked problems. If you take the single problem, the problem is clear and repeatable solutions with straightforward steps like basic arithmetic, tame problems, inside the box, and puzzle type of activities and problems. And normally we teach students to solve this type of tame problems and substitute, and we will be able to do that. But the real life show us the complex problems. That is, problem is clear, but there are multiple factors to be analyzed before reaching a conclusion. For example, project management and branding. And if you take the case of unstructured problem, it is problem is not clearly defined, requires creativity and critical thinking. For example, developing a new product. When we develop a new product, the main risk is that there is a chance that we solve the wrong problem. So our product will not work out. So this needs some creativity and critical thinking. And how to develop that? We should go through that. All students should go through that process of learning. And if you take wicked problems, problem not defined, no clear solution, need ongoing exploration to understand about the problem itself. There are many globalization challenges, retention, disagreement on problem itself is a wicked problem. Understanding problem by devising solution and seeing how they further our knowledge on problem. So we really get the idea by devising solution, then we get the idea about the problem. So there are many wicked problems. We will not get the correct answer, but we keep on devise and we keep on solve it. For example, COVID-19 was wicked, but we tamed. So we need that ability. All managers, all scientists, all individuals, all those who study any subject, they should develop these skills, that is to solve simple problem, complex problem, unstructured problem, and wicked problem. So in each level, in each class, there should be classification of problems and solving, practicing in a group with metacognitive feedback. Then we can ensure that there will be a growth in the thinking skills and the problem solving skills. And what is the solution? I started with the question, are we really changing? So to change, we should focus on four aspects. That is, first is metacognition development. So then we should go through the process of learning, and we should change our learning and teaching method, and there should be a purpose for every activity. So to develop metacognition, we should use some framework. For example, one is self-instructional metacognitive development. So it is a structured tool to help students build self-awareness, goal setting, and independent learning habits. This is the foundation of learning. Then there should be review, action, reflection, process of learning. That is a smart learning cycle that guides learners to review concepts, apply them, and reflect for deeper understanding. Then it becomes student centered learning. That is an approach that puts learners in control and encourage active participation, curiosity, and personalized progress. And what is the purpose of all these things? To develop new age skill development. So without purpose, there is no use of any activity. So when we do implement some education program, there should be some goal and there should be way to achieve that. So what are those new age skills? Or one other way is to call is 21st century skills that I mentioned before, that human centric ability. Now, in self instructional metacognitive development, what happens is that we should develop declarative knowledge that builds self awareness, helping students understand what they know. That is the first point. Then, procedural knowledge. This enables effective application of skills to solve problems. Then, conditional knowledge. It helps students to recognize the best times and context for specific strategies. So when students learn one strategy or use one strategy in a particular context, and in another situation, even learning strategy, they apply that same learning method or strategy in another context or in another subject, they are showing their conditional knowledge. Then metacognitive regulation means we should develop the self-planning. It involves setting goals and selecting strategies before beginning a task. So we should develop the skill to self-plan, self-monitor. They should monitor themselves. So it is a process, ongoing process of tracking one's progress and comprehension during a task. And self-correction, it is the ability to adjust strategies and fix errors as soon as they are identified. Then self evaluation. It is the final assessment of the process and outcome against the original goals after a task is completed. The point here is that students should be able to do self planning, self monitoring, self correction, self evaluation. So, what is the role of teacher? Student is responsible, he is independent here. He, and one more thing is their self regulation. So how to develop these skills in the classroom? This is what my presentation. And ultimate objective is to develop declarative knowledge, procedural knowledge, and conditional knowledge. So this, if you take the case of Massachusetts Institute of Technology in their teaching and learning lab, you can see here how people learn through metacognition, self-regulation, and worked examples. So self-regulation is a broader concept. It includes this metacognition plus the management of emotion, motivation, and behavior, including focus and time management. So when students are able to achieve this metacognition and self-regulation, they will be effective learner with skill development. So I will explain more about this SIMD. That is, students should be able to set their own goals, track their habits, and understand their learning style and build a daily steady discipline. For that, we can use many modules. For example, learning strategy inventory. They should assess themselves. So we need some tools, or teachers should encourage them to do by identifying their learning strategy, learning style, and we can assess their metacognitive ability using some test, and the goal setting and timetable dashboard. They should be able to set their goals for daily, weekly, and they should progress. And each and every exam, before and after, they should reflect on exam, how they performed, how much they prepared. That is called exam wrapper. And there should be daily tracker for their self regulation. That is their self emotion, motivation, focus, concentration in the study. For example, they should be able to rate, today in concentration I am 4, yesterday I was 5, so I lag there, I should improve that. This is called that metacognition and self-regulation. And self-regulated learning template that promote reflecting on the self-planning, self-monitoring, self-evaluation itself, whether I am doing the self-planning correctly or not, I am doing self-monitoring correctly or not, self-evaluation, whether I am doing correctly or not. When we are reflecting on this process of metacognition and self-regulation, we are becoming more aware about the as a learner, and we improve the basic learning pattern. So next solution I gave is RAR framework. That is, it stands for review, action, reflection. In this process, it replaces passive study with a thoughtful cycle. That is, it helps learners to understand, apply, and reflect on what they study, and to build deeper memory and better performance. It will be useful in Excel exams, assignments, or personal growth. So I will show example. Before that, I would like to explain the theory behind it. So what is the theory? I have used many theories. One important theory is Kaustalini's 1995 model. That is, consciousness of how one is conscious of one thinking and what and how one learns. This is the awareness of how one is learning and what and how one learns. So they should be very clear about what a person, he or she is learning, and how they learn. And later they should be able to reflect on it. We can study same topic, same subject in different ways. Then they should reflect on whether this method is right or wrong. What is the strength of this? So this will give them more memory and deeper understanding. So method or strategy means choose what one needs and relate what one already knows with what one looking for. So this is the second uh, process step. That means when we take a topic, they should relate with the old concepts and identify use methods, strategies, and organizing principles. So we should read a material after organizing the content. Otherwise, it will not be in our memory. So how to organize that? And in monitoring learning, we should organize the time and steps, indicate and correct errors, process, generate questions for elaboration and evaluation of a subject. How is this will happen? So when we achieve or go through this all these process at same time, outcome will be independent learning, more permanent knowledge, motivation for learning, and higher achievement. It will be difficult to achieve all these steps or process in same study session, but it is possible through implementation of the right framework and tools. So the steps So I already explained about selecting the right learning method and organizing. So the process of learning will look like this according to this model, that is review the material for the study, link with prior knowledge and organize them into clear topic wise section. Then we should learn using a particular method. Develop study techniques based on learning style like mind maps, mnemonics, or allowed thinking. Then a student should be able to do their 3Z analysis. What is 3Z analysis? After selecting the right learning method, they should evaluate the understanding in comprehensive schema, how much I developed the knowledge and relationship of concept, and critical thinking and communication. These are the basic skills needed for any student. When a student have this comprehensive schema, critical thinking and communication, they can share the critical thinking with the other team members. Then the group work will have some meaning. Otherwise, there will be no contribution. It will just become a time pass. So this is what first student should analyze. What is my comprehensive schema about this subject? What is my critical thinking? Whether I can about this topic, whether I can communicate it. Then reflect on the learning method, how I learn this topic, how I can improve it. Then they should go through some activities. What activities? It can be case analysis, it can be problem solving exercise, critical thinking exercise. So this will, and after that, they should do the reflection on this activity performance. This should happen for every topic. So they will go through this process of learning, they will definitely develop. And you can, as a student, I will show this example. If you take the case of personalization, the learning method and content should be generated based on the learning style, the type of learning category, specialization, English language proficiency. Many people find difficulty in English language. Some are very proficient, some are basic, and all people get the same study material. So people with low proficiency memorize the paragraph, and no need of paragraph to solve problems, particularly in exams or in real life. Particularly in real life, no need of paragraphs to solve problems. We need comprehensive schema, not paragraphs. So we should generate based on their preferences and what is our purpose, which new age skill we want to develop, and what is the difficulty level one prefer, what is the learning goal. Everything will have an impact on their learning method. If we study the same content, all people with a different learning style, different capacity, memorize the same paragraph, where is the effectiveness of learning? So the learning content should be developed based on this of these factors. Now, what are the learning methods? One example is allowed thinking. Think aloud strategy involves articulation of thinking. It is identified as an effective instructional tool. It is common for teachers to use think aloud when modeling, writing, reading, working out mathematical calculations for and speaking and listening strategies. For maximum impact, it is recommended that think aloud are considered in the planning phase. So first itself, we should decide we will do think aloud for this topic, and we will do modeling. I will give an example. This is a chemistry topic, that is Avogadro's law. This is a paragraph, and a student needs to study this. So it is not about memorizing this paragraph. First, they should go through this verbal reasoning of this paragraph. That is, first I need the definition, read the definition carefully. Next, I think about what is this implies, and then I will see the textbook and connect this into a chemical reaction. So I will connect the volume to the molecule. Now I will formalize relationship. Finally, I will check my understanding. So this thought process should happen in the mind of the student. If this is happening, definitely that process will be in their mind, and they can apply this in the problem or in the real life situation. If without going through this verbal process in allowed or in silent way, it is just a memorization of some paragraphs or some combination of words, it will not make any sense. So this is allowed thinking. And modeling. Modeling means based on this understanding and verbal reasoning, a student should be able to develop step-by-step explanation of that concept. For example, in this situation, state the law and condition, express the mathematical relationship, apply to water formulation example, and final check. So this model developed by that student. For another student, this model may be different. This is called, we say, the understanding. So he has got the verbal reasoning, he has his own model. If you take mathematics or chemistry or many subjects, there are different way of solving problems, not one way. So you have to identify the best way that suits to you. You can develop your own model. This is a starting of all creativity and all new things. And if you take the case of business, and particularly classical conditioning, this is a paragraph related to that famous Ivan Pavlov's experiment. So it keep and explain about the theory, experiment, and the different principles here, like unconditioned stimulus, unconditioned response, neutral stimulus. If you memorize this, what will happen? You cannot remember in the exam. So if you take allowed thinking and modeling strategy, what is the verbal reasoning behind this? In this story, first, that is the reaction of the dog is salivation. Then I think, what is the reason for that? Food. When first time bell rang, there was no reaction, so it is neutral. Later, when these two stimuli linked, that is bell and the food, it recognize, that is there is an association. Then later remember. This model is developed by myself for better explanation to students. So a student can also develop this. So if I give a practical example to students, they will be able to solve very easily, because they have to identify the reaction in a situation, what is the reason, what repetition is happening there, how it recognize, and what they remember at the end. That is our condition stage, condition stimulus and conditioned learning. So this is the power of allowed thinking. And if you take passage mapping, how to read a paragraph, the same concept of Avogadro's law, we can study like this also. The basic understanding, the basic idea, then what are the core definitions there? What are the context and key statements, and what are the supporting evidence? So you can organize the content in different way. One is allowed thinking and modeling, another is passage mapping, another is gridding. Gridding means we are comparing two theories that is based on these factors. So this thinking should happen in mind. That is, what is the difference between these two laws based on the year, core principle, and relationship uh, described example. So this will give the base for critical thinking. So gridding is another method. So gridding is basically a spatial interpolation. Interpolation is a mathematical technique to estimate the values of unknown data points that fall in between existing known data points. And another way of visual learning is preparing the concept map. The same topic of this Avogadro's law, we can make it into a concept map like this: the principle, key insight, and the foundation of law and application. So this picture or visual will be in our mind, and from this we can take it out, retrieve very easily. So we know the relationship of concepts very easily by memorizing like this. Another method is preparing the graphic organizers, not only concept map. There are many other methods, like it can be a flow chart, it may be a process chart, fishbone analysis, fishbone diagram, and ladder or linked events. Like that, we should categorize and organize the content in the right way that's suitable to your learning style. For example, a student is a visual learner, they can make it into concept map and into graphic organizer. A student is audio, they should get audio explanation. If a learner is a textual learner, he should get that passage mapping, structuring, outlining. It is the important. It is the importance of organizing according to style. Then another is coding and mnemonics. It is widely used in particularly in medical science, because there are many terminologies, pharmacology. So there is a famous book itself. So it is making acronyms or rhymes based on the key points. For if you take this law, it is same. If you remember this same, you can remember the theory. So this is coding and mnemonics. Another way is WWWH framework. That is, after getting a topic, they should be able to categorize and think, what is this, why, what are the benefits, when we can use this, where it is developed, or where we can use, who is the person behind it, and how, that is the process. So this is the way of thinking. So we should promote that way of thinking in the classroom and in our own self-learning. Another method is worked examples. If it is a problem or any subject, there will be step-by-step explanation of what we should do first. We should identify that. For example, there is an accounting problem. So this is 10% analysis. So calculate the base here. That should be the first one. Then only you can continue. So that structure should be in your mind. So what you keep it in your mind is important. Then only you can take it out and apply. Then summarization. You can summarize in many ways. That is, summarization can be a short paragraph. No, you can do summarization by one line explanation of the what is the core concept, what are the key facts, what is the mechanism here, what are the evidences given. So these key points you should remember. Then only it will be useful in the future. So this is another way. So I would like to summarize. There are different learning methods. Like when you get a subject, you can structure and outline point by point. You can make the grid in rows and columns. Passage mapping by identifying the central idea, supporting facts. Worked example, WWH framework, coding mnemonics, concept mapping, graphic organizers, modeling routing, summarization according to the learning style, learning difficulty, and preferences. This is called personalization. After this personalization, there should be some formative assessment. You organized, understand the concept. Now, one person should check themselves. That is what knowledge I developed. What is my comprehensive schema? What is my critical thinking? And whether I can communicate it with or not. And there should be some feedback system. It can be given by teacher or your peers. So the generative learning theory suggests that students create meaning by building comprehensive schema. So comprehensive schema means understanding of the knowledge and relationship of concept, whether it is in the mind in clear terms with a clear format. Then there should be some metacognitive activities and reflection, that is self-planning, self-monitoring, self-evaluation. This all concept of self-planning, self-monitoring, self-evaluation, came from the groundbreaking work of Flavel 1977. That was the first is the original work by Flavel, meta memory. Then later he published in 1979 on metacognition and cognitive monitoring. It showed thousands of works and research are there. It shows that metacognition improves all 21st century skills and in all subjects in medical, in management, accounting, sales, or mathematical problem solving, engineering, IT, everywhere. So why can't we follow this process? But we need some assistance help to implement in the class. Now, there should be some summative assessment like basically in exams we ask mcqs or descriptive question based on bloom's taxonomy. It can be presentation, it can be scenario planning for ability to formulate plan for future, that is anticipatory thinking. It can be a raw activity perception test, micro learning, workshop report, or video analysis, or problem solving. Problem solving means it should be simple problem, complex problem, unstructured problem, and wicked problems. There should be practice. Using the same theory, same topic, we should do some activities and some group activities like related to that particular topic. It can be a flipped classroom, fishbowl group activity, jigsaw method, group discussion, debate, generative knowledge interviewing, role play, futurism trend analysis. It the students can select based on the topic and the type of subject they study. If it is business, almost everything we can apply. If it is chemistry or physics, some subject they can use some method like problem solving. They can have a debate. So they should also prove their communication skill, critical thinking. So with only memorizing the concept and solving in paper will not make them good performers in the real industry. So this is and after that, another most important, how do you solve these problems or perform? Not alone. Some activities can be do in silos, but group activities you should do in a forum or in together in hostels or in home. So these collaborative strategies are useful tool to enhance learners' reflective thinking and metacognitive skills. Research says that. And basic Vygotsky's approach is the assumption that social interaction plays a major role in the origin and development of higher mental function, that is metacognition and higher order thinking. So he is one of the famous psychologist, educational psychologist, and collaborative and social interaction should be promoted. We can do through in classroom group activities and through platforms. Another one, the purpose. At the end, after doing this activity, what we should check clearly the critical thinking, innovation, problem solving, leadership, teamwork, research aptitude, or evaluation, judgment, creativity, entrepreneurial mindset. Then we should give feedback. They should get that badge or some physical output for these activities and performance for the skills, not for the points they remembered. All these activities should be conducted, and then we should give some reward or output based on that, not just based on the content they memorize and write. So then the purpose will be achieved. So this is backed by research. That means you can see here English and communication skill metacognition is needed. Metacognition in entrepreneurship, influence of metacognition, mathematical problem solving, team learning and metacognition, and interplay play of scientific inquiry. If you take leadership development, any subject, any level, you can see metacognition. Lot of research that metacognition is the foundation of learning. It leads to effective way of learning, and it developed 21st century skill in creative thinking, in entrepreneurship, problem solving, key to improve marketing, education, teaching and learning, computer programming. If you take any subject, so all students should go through this, and even MIT promote that, and they boast of that. We are getting the best all over the world, but students are using less metacognition. Still, there is a scope for improvement. Now, if you want to practical, I think I cannot go this. I have to show this separately. So I will show the practical later or in another uh, occasion. But you can definitely check this platform. In this, you can the exactly the same process you can test in this platform. Upload the material and set your profile, learning style, learning goal, and your learning strategy, difficulty level. It will generate the best learning method. Out of this 10, it will select the best learning method. It will ask the questions, the critical thinking comprehensive schema question. It will generate the activity, perform in group through this collaborative platform, get AI and peer evaluation, and get the badges. So the same process is developed into a platform. So you can test yourself. So, what is this student driven learning ecosystem at the end happens is that there should be self paced learning. So, if there is a system, it is not in a particular in a classroom, we listen some facts, make notes, and we just before exam memorize some point, right, and we forget. So, what is the benefit? There should be a system so that they can learn at their own pace, at their own place, and there should be some courses and certifications, curated courses based on this process of learning, and there should be some physical output for motivation for this skill they develop, and there should be peer and mentor support. Collaborative learning is very important, and people think that I understood the concept, no need of any other discussion or feedback. No, we develop our knowledge and application creativity skills when we discuss and collaborate, and we should develop that better study habit, that is improving memory, focus, self regulation. The key focus is that the structured AI powered metacognitive learning for new age skill development. This framework focus on it is five principles of student centered learning, that is personalized learning, active learning, collaborative learning, critical thinking and problem solving, metacognition, and self regulation. And the process of learning students are going through, and they develop the new age skills, and you can use AI here. So what is the use of AI here? Not to generate answer, it is very easy. If you type any question, it will give answer. So we can use AI for generating or organizing the content, and develop the question, and you should check whether I can answer this or not. So if you just read the GPT generated answer, your thinking is not happening. So our objective is to develop the thinking. So we can use AI for organizing the content and asking questions, and developing a platform or it rates. So these type of tasks can be done by AI. So why this is needed? And if you ask me, we need a structured AI powered metacognitive learning machine for new age skill development, because I hope all of you know in 1996, Kasparov, world champion of chess, played with computer and he won. Later in 1997, he lost with computer. But later people started using computer to practice, to compete with other human. So we need some system, even AI powered or computer system, to practice our and take us through this process of learning. And if you take the case of bowling machine also, we are using a machine, not a man, to practice cricket match. And babies at tender age, or maybe they use walker, they need a support. So if we give us that support in the form of system or tools, definitely they will learn walking, they will learn learning, and they will start running after some time. And patience is key. It will take some time to develop this metacognitive, self-regulated learning, that self-discipline and motivation. But if we practice for 6 months, 1 year, that is the foundation for all our success. And even after becoming a great leader, what we are doing, we are not just memorizing content and producing, we are reflecting what decision went wrong, why I made this. As an investor, as a businessman, we reflect every day. So that practice in learning we should start, so that it will be useful in our future life. So what is the science behind this total framework? Think about thinking, that is meta process. I already explained. Flavel started this research in 1977, and there is a famous popular framework by US Army, that is after action review. After a combat or operation, they uh, review and reflect on what happened, what went well, and how to improve. Then instructional metacognitive modifiability by Feuerstein and team. It also focuses on enhancing cognitive skills through feedback and reflection. Feedback and reflection you can see in all learning theories. If you take KWLHA framework by Barrel, or if you take inquiry cycle, at the end there will be reflection. But we miss that in our present. No, I cannot say everywhere. There may be a system that uses. If we are not using, we should use it. And the most important model I took is Components of the Concept of Metacognition by Costel in 1995. And based on this, how we can develop a new framework is that current pedagogy, if it lacks somewhere in metacognitive teaching learning strategy, we should add that, so that we will be able to implement student-centered learning, and ultimately our outcome will be proactiveness, higher academic performance, achievement of graduate attributes. Graduate attributes normally for all university have, it includes this employability skills and 21st century skills. And Drucker argues that in the schools of tomorrow, students will be their own instructors. How? He forecasted or predicted, but it is possible with the help of AI, and empowering students to self plan, self monitor, self evaluate, self correct, and self regulate learning. If they do this, uh, I think as a teacher, our role will be to give the right source of information for a particular topic or concept. And after that, they can process it themselves and they can understand it. And if they have doubt, they can ask. So the main process of learning that students should do themselves. And I don't think that if I keep on lecture for 1 hour, 2 hours on one topic, whether it is really going through that mind of students and they process it. If really they process and go through this and achieve the five principles, definitely improvement. And I would like to conclude. I am going to conclude by saying education is not the learning of facts, but the training of the mind to think exactly what that should happen in the classroom. We should give training to think. Facts, information, anybody can collect. So in the initial slide I mentioned, it is not the information or fact, it is a cognitive architecture. Now, what is the key takeaway here? The objective in education must be to shift from an outdated operating system of remembering for forgetting to one of remembering for problem solving. This is the key. We should learn to solve problems related to that particular area, subject, or particular topic. Otherwise, there is no purpose. And to solve that problem, we need skills. What are those skills? I already mentioned. First, we should have that comprehensive schema, critical thinking, communication, leadership, creativity, collaboration, ethical mindset, we need analytical skills, we need anticipatory thinking. The problem is that we are learning some facts and theories now, but we are going to graduate after 4 years or 3 years or 4 years, and we really start doing or developing solution maybe after 6 years or 7 years. And you should have that skills to solve problem after 10 years based on this education. If it is not useful, what is the use of this education? Should give foundation of the mind to think properly, so that you will be able to solve problem not now also, plus current and future problem, future challenges. That is the real education. So it is not time to save cost, but to add value. It is time to make students more competitive, not comfortable. I believe in this principle, and student will be more comfortable if we give less difficult tasks, or they just give some paragraph to memorize. They will do it very easily, but they are not becoming competitive. This is my philosophy, and it is not about making students feel safe in their ignorance. This is all my reflection after teaching many years. That is, it is not about making students feel safe in their ignorance, but making them impactfully capable in the complex world. It will take some time, and we should take students through the process of learning. And before that, I would also like to mention one more point here. That is, you can see the quote from the first Prime Minister of Singapore. You see, it is the quality, the metal of a people which decide its future, not the size of the territory, the girth, the numbers. So, metal of the people made Singapore one of the top countries in the world in innovation or science, or if you take any financially. So it is the mental metal of the people that take country to the top, and how we can bring out that mental metal through metacognition, and we can do that. And this is my summary. And the takeaway is that we should change our education operating system. That is, our new role will be facilitator of experience. As a teacher, I am giving my reflection and my model. The method should be adaptive and student centered. Operating system should be cognitive and metacognitive. The core skill, critical thinking and resolving. And the goal should be true competence and resilience. So if you take it like a system, Edu core operating system, one specification, it will look like this. User role, experience, orchestrator, they should go through that experience. And framework will be adaptive, SCL protocol, and kernel, cogni, meta processing. Cognition and metacognition should happen, and output will be solutionary engine. We should be able to find solution at the end, and performance metric will be our impact factor. After studying or after getting education or degree, what impact we can create in the society. So to summarize, my key point here is that we should review the concept, we should understand the comprehensive schema we need, that we should develop to apply, and we should use memory, not memory. We should have meta memory, that is control and awareness of our memory. Then mastery comes through metacognition, and for this all we need awareness as a learner. That is, reflection should happen. And in regulation, in metacognitive regulation, we can definitely use AI, and self-regulation also for tracking. We can use some system, and this will yield the result, no doubt. So thank you very much. So I think I finished 5 minutes before for question and answer. So
Wow.
practically it will take another 1 hour. So
Yes, very nice, Dr. Ranjita. It was really lovely to listen to your wonderful explanation. And I was just going through all the slides, which were very wonderful. And I was enjoying the way you were explaining each and everything, how things have evolved, and how minutely every model is playing a significant role in transmitting the knowledge particularly, and all things the way you were just explaining. I was just thinking that I took the whole day workshop with you regarding this innovative pedagogy, because you just came up with the so much stuff, but you made it so easy, so simple, and you were explaining in a simple words that I was just enjoying each and every moment of that presentation. Thank you very much for explaining it in a very great way. Uh, since you have explained so many things in a very good way, but there are certain questions related to your personal methodology, what you do, and how what do you recommend to our faculty member to learn from you. So, should we start with the first question, please?
Sure.
Okay. So the first question they want to ask that how do you ensure active participation from students with diverse learning needs and background? So now your personal experiences along as the expert of this field, please.
Yes. So that is why first there should be a system. That system should be able to identify the preferences of learners, their level of difficulty, English language proficiency, their learning style, and these are what I meant by this diverse learning is their goal. Maybe some people learn to develop skills, some for exams and background. That means their background maybe in language, their capacity in some subject and all. So that is why we should be able to track with the prior system, and there should be a system to identify this first. Then the content should be generated. The same textbook, same chapter, we can convert in. I have shown some examples in different. In we can explain the same concept in low difficult words, and we can use just concept map, or we can go promote that aloud thinking like that based on their learning needs and background. We should generate the right learning method, and we should generate that type of activity that suit their background. That is why I said there we should that is what exactly I did in that system that I developed. It is as a system. What happens is that when they upload a material, it will ask two questions: what is your prior knowledge, what do you want to learn. Then they are thinking what, yes, they are thinking. That thinking should we should promote at every stage. Then after that, it based on the personalization, one student will get a summarization, another student get allowed thinking. It depends upon their preference. Then it depends upon explanation will be difficult way or medium difficult or low difficult based on their preference. Then we can achieve this. That is why we can use AI here for organizing and generating that, not for taking the facts from different website and giving the answer. That is the purpose it made, but we should utilize for our purpose. So
Hmm.
I hope this can be achieved very beautifully if you go through that process.
Wonderful. Very nice. Very practical examples you have given. I really appreciate that thing. Now, another interesting thing they want to know about the mindset. The question is that what shifts in mindsets are required for educators to fully embrace the student-centered teaching? Yes, please.
For you are asking for the educators.
Yes, from faculty perspective. Yes, please.
First, we should understand why this student-centered learning. Student-centered learning means we are empowering them, and we, as a teacher, we will be happy if our students are becoming entrepreneurs, becoming successful in their life. For that, our old method is not enough. First, we should think that, and this is what last 2 years I am implementing same method. Initially, I was doing manually. I used to make the right learning method in a medium that type of preference, and for each topic then I developed activities manually. Then I realized that for make it more practical, I should develop a system so it will be easy. So I developed a system. Now I am using in the classroom, so students they can develop that, generate that learning method. They can do their activity according to their preference, and I am enjoying that because after that they are 100% engaged in the classroom, active learning. So what we want, students think about something else, and the students are not listening the class. So here what 100% engagement, they will do this some small activities, and they are happy to do this. They will not be what listening if we keep on talking. So it will be very interesting for us. For example, after explaining a topic, they generate the method, and they answer the activity in group or individually. We are also happy, and we can give some feedback, and the process is very enjoyable. And at the end, when they develop and become empowered, it is very easy to implement student centered learning. Our objective should be, first we should understand its importance and how it will benefit us also. Mentally, definitely satisfaction will be there because all students are engaged. They are doing some activity. If they are doing activity, definitely they will develop, and we can be happy by seeing their development. That should be the philosophy.
Wow,
So that is
wonderful. Yeah, very nice, wonderful. And I'm enjoying the way you are giving answer. All of these things are coming out of the experiences and dealing with the diverse students.
Yes, from my classroom experience, I am telling
Yes.
earlier, 2 3 years back, what happens? I also one after another topic I am keep on explaining.
Yeah.
So I am going in the vertical way. It should
Mhm.
be supposed to be horizontal way. One
Yeah.
topic, its method, its reflection question, its activity. Then
Wow.
that one topic completed. Not keep
Wonderful.
on explaining. They cannot listen.
True. True.
Here I
Very
am
true.
explaining only basic idea about the concept. These are the concept. Generate, organize first, then read. Then they will get the clear idea. This is the first point. This is a core definition. Then this is a sub point. And if this activity come, how to use this framework here? Their thinking will happen.
True.
Yes,
Very
this is
nice.
what happened. Based on my experience, I am telling.
Yeah, very nice, wonderful. And this is what we do as well. That we teach the one concept appropriately, then we ask them to apply it, and we try to cultivate the analytical skills and problem solving skills related to that concept. I think this is how you keep engage the students, and they even learn. And you, as a facilitator, as an instructor, you also enjoy the whole process.
Yes. So, in that learning method and activity, we should choose according to that student's learning background and style. If we give the same thing, it will not be that much effective. That is
Yes.
the personalized learning.
Yeah, very true. Very pertinent to say. Thank you very much. And now another question again from you, from your experiences. People wants to listen to your personal approaches to that as well. Now the question is, how do you balance the curriculum requirements with the flexibility needed for student-centered approach? Yes, please.
What is curriculum? What the curriculum means basically in universities they give some learning outcome, they give some material or textbook,
Mhm.
and how we process that information completely in the hand of the teacher and the students. You whether you call this student centered learning or whatever the name, actually we are taking the students through the process of learning. We no need of any official certificate to take students through the process of learning. And at the end, when you implement these five principles, it becomes student centered learning. So it is not officially or with a certificate we cannot implement student centered learning. We can implement student centered learning only when we empower them to self regulate learning, self plan, self monitor, self evaluation, self correction. So just doing some activity is also not enough without any purpose, and doing some activity is not student centered learning. It will become when it go through this process of learning, and when it achieve its purpose, and when they reflect in the correct interval, when they do it themselves. And I would like to share a story here. One seventh grade failed person, he is deaf and mute. He developed a helicopter his own, and he flight got the flight license. What
Okay.
makes him not any university degree, not even 10th grade he passed? This is his metacognition, self-regulation, self-correction. If one student has got doubt, they may leave that. But a person who shows, I should find out. And he went to another 1,000 kilometer away city. He met and made a pilot as a friend. He learned the basic thing. He developed themselves, and he got the this how people achieve these things. This is their metacognition and self-regulation, and this is what we can call in many other names. And even our university, it says our principle is student-centered learning. We should achieve procedure knowledge, conditional knowledge, but with one paper and certificate we cannot achieve. We should take students through the process of learning. And curriculum is not no. What is the curriculum? They will give some learning outcome and content in the classroom. How you process that, each person process it differently. If you process it according to the right system, framework and method, it will be more effective. After all, you call it student centered learning or learning. That's all, it's learning. Learning with a purpose. So curriculum will not be a big trouble here. It is all about mindset of both the teachers and learners. I would
Hmm.
like to call this student-centered learning, student-driven learning, because they are doing self-planning, self-monitoring, self-evaluation, self-correction.
Hmm. Very nice, wonderful. And I'm really enjoying the way you are giving answer, and I wish to continue it for 1 hour. But since we have the time limitation and there is a lot of question in the queue, but it's already over the time. So we take the last question, which is again very interesting one. They want to ask that how do we ensure reliability and validity when assessing collaborative or project-based learning activities? So your recommendation on that, please.
So reliability and validity comes first. There should be a proper rubrics, and this rubric should be evaluated. One, we can use AI. Then there should be mentor evaluation or the teacher evaluation. There should be peer evaluation. A combination of all these things give that reliability and validity. It is not just a system evaluate, not just mentor evaluate. There should be peer evaluation also. That is the basics of collaborative learning. So this is what I also focus. I developed in the system when they talk. For example, we are talking here. Based on our talking, it will evaluate our translate critical thinking here, answering style, communication. It will give grade. But as a another evaluator listening this, they can give marks. We cannot believe always the system or AI. It should be human, or there should be human also. And two, evaluation plus as a peer. For example, you also give yes as a friend or his answers. I learned from this, so I will give good marks. So you are giving good marks for me. So these three combination will give the right reliability and validity. I think it's rubrics, and all people should evaluate based on these rubrics and for that skills. Then we can work it out.
Wonderful. Very nice, Dr. Ranjit. Really, it was a wonderful to listen to you and the way you explain each and everything. I really enjoyed. Thank you so much for sharing your great wisdom and knowledge. And Dr. Ranjit, at the end of the session, we asked our each guest regarding their message to the world. So, what is your message to the world as a speaker, author, teacher, researcher, trainer, learner, professional, and educator? Yes, please.
My message is the same thing. All students should go through the process of learning, and all teachers should train the students to think. And through this mental method, we can achieve through metacognition, and we can flourish economically, mentally, spiritually, and we will achieve some learning by going through the process of learning. Learning should be with a purpose, and not it should not be for the sake of learning, getting some degree. It will not serve any other purpose. It should help us to be resilient in our difficult time. We should develop that skills. That
Hmm.
is the message I would like to share to the whole community, students and teachers. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful message. I think you have squeezed the ocean into the drop while explaining from thinking to purposeful life.
Yes.
All the
If
things are just related to the way we think, we
you
become.
want to summarize a little more, I would say
Yeah,
uh,
please.
is equal to MC square. I have shown in the PowerPoint. Education is equal to metacognition, MC square, metacognition square. That is metacognition of students and metacognition of teachers. If both work, education, we will achieve the excellence in education. That is my shortest summary or
Wonderful.
message to all people. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful, and I really enjoyed the way you just do it. And now the summarized one is the more powerful, I believe. And thank you very much for just adding with that. And I'm sure our audience would have learned all the things which you just mentioned in terms of the content, in terms of the explanation. It was wonderful. To the audience, please do follow our distinguished guest speaker through his research work, and you can email him for future learning and guidance. He is very generous and always ready to help the people. That's all we have time for today. And thank you once again, Dr. Ranjit Krishan, for your precious time, for your
Thank you.
content, for your elaboration. Yeah. And I would like to thank our audience who joined us. If you have any additional question about information shared today, please email us or connect to the speaker directly through his email or social media account. We will also put the his LinkedIn ID on the description of this video so that you can contact him easily. Thank you all for your support and liking our sessions. Stay tuned as many sessions are on the way. Please do not miss any session. Until next session, take care of yourself. Bye bye.